My name is Ronnie Rios, and I'm really excited to be your host for today's webinar, How to Deploy Your Custom App. Today, we'll learn what does it mean to deploy a custom app, what should it accomplish, and how do we deploy our custom apps in the FileMaker platform. But before we get started, let's spend the next minute or two covering a few brief housekeeping notes. For the best experience, we strongly recommend that you participate in this website seminar with at least a broadband connection. If you have any problems or require online assistance at any time, please contact Citrix Technical Support at 888-259-8414. Again, that number is 888-259-8414. During today's presentation, you will have the opportunity to type in questions. So let's briefly talk about how you can submit your question. Simply go to the control panel, click on the question section, type in your question, and click on the send button. We'll cover as many questions as time allows us at the end of the presentation, but remember, you don't have to wait till the end to submit your questions. So with that, let's get started. So you have a FileMaker custom app that you want to share with your team. Now, once you've tested it and make sure that it does exactly what you need, the next step is to share it so that everyone in your team can start using it. This is what's called deployment. It means sharing your app so that your team can access and use it. Now, a good deployment should help you manage your apps, should provide ways to secure the data so that only those who are authorized have access to it. It should also be resilient and allow you to recover in the event that something goes wrong. And it should be flexible, allowing just a few or as many users to access your app from multiple devices and platforms. So let's talk about what this would look like. So let's say for the next few minutes, I am the owner and manager of a small but growing landscaping company. And currently we use spreadsheets to view and edit our customers' information. We also use spreadsheets to keep track of all the work that we've done for our customers. We have photos of the work that we've done, and we keep track of customers through contracts in digital format. Now, our teams visit customers face-to-face. So we've got part of our team is out in the field talking with customers, and we also have part of the staff here in the office. Now, right now, it's becoming very difficult for us to keep track of all this information. And this manual process is causing us to lose new business opportunities. And the time that it requires for us to find information is really costing us. So in a webinar, not unlike this one, I learned about the FileMaker platform and how it could help me bring all of this information together in a custom app that aligns with my particular business needs. So let me show you what I built. So here's my custom app, and this is what I've built. I've taken all this information, the scattered information that we had that was in different formats and required different applications, and was probably even stored on different devices, and combined it all into a nice, good-looking custom app that shows me everything that we need. With it, now I can keep track of all of our customer information. I've got multiple photos for each one, keep track of contracts, the signature, all the work that we've done for each one of the customers, and even added some automation so we can start adding and keeping track of new work orders for each one of our customers. Now, this app is helping me now have a better look, a better understanding, kind of an overall look of what's going on in the organization and how we're working. But there's one drawback. Right now, this custom app sits on my computer, and I'm the only one who has access to this. So I need to figure out a way to get this in the hands of everybody. In other words, I need to learn how to deploy this custom app. So again, I've learned that I can build and run these custom apps from my desktop computer, right, using FileMaker Pro Advanced. But I need to get this in the hands of everybody in my team. I need to be able to make sure that everybody in my team can leverage this information. I need to learn to deploy it. So luckily for us, the FileMaker platform, there's not just one, but there's two options for us to share or deploy our custom apps. You have FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud. So what is FileMaker Server? Well, it's actually software for managing and sharing our custom apps that can then be accessed from desktop computers using FileMaker Pro Advanced, from iOS devices like the iPhone and iPad using FileMaker Go, and from web browsers using FileMaker WebDirect. Again, this is software that gets installed on a computer of my choosing. Now, this computer we normally refer to as a server. Now, server is just another name for a computer that is dedicated to providing services, like sharing custom apps. Now, this server is usually located on-premise in a secure, centralized location. So what about FileMaker Cloud? Well, just like FileMaker Server, FileMaker Cloud allows us to very quickly and easily share our custom apps with our team. Now, FileMaker Cloud is also software that runs on a computer. However, this computer is a virtual computer, also known as an instance, that runs on the Amazon Web Services cloud and is offered through the AWS Marketplace. So the server and the server software are managed on this cloud platform. And it has been completely architected and designed from the ground up to take advantage of all the benefits that cloud computing brings with a minimum administrative hassle. So it has a simplified hosting process so that it can make it very easy for us to deploy our custom apps very quickly without having to invest in hardware for our own server or even install the software. So both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud accomplish the same goals. So they're very similar. They actually share several components. So let's talk about some of the components that are similar that are shared between FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud. So both have an administrative console, and the admin console is a web application that allows us to set up and configure both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud. They both have a database server, and this is the engine that really allows us to share or deploy our custom apps. We also have a web publishing engine that allows us to take these custom apps and convert them on the fly to a format that can be delivered and interpreted by web browsers when we choose to use that. And they also both have a web server, which is what takes this information from the web publishing engine and then delivers it finally to the web browser when we're using that. So both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud allow us to remotely administrate and monitor all of our custom apps. They make our data secure, both in storage and in transmission. With both of them, we have automated and scheduled backups. With both, we can grow our custom apps as our organization grows. And both provides access from multiple devices and platforms. So let's briefly look at how both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud help us accomplish this. Now, in our little story here, we only have one custom app, right, to manage our customers and all the work orders. But I envision myself down the road having multiple apps, creating apps for things like managing our employees and inventory and things like that. And as we add new custom apps, it's going to be really important for us to have some sort of tool that helps us administrate all of these. So both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud give us a very easy to use administrative console. The admin console, again, it's an easy to use web-based application that lets us configure and administrate our server. With it, we can make our FileMaker custom apps available to everybody in our team. We can open them up, pause and stop them if we need to. We can view information about the apps that are being hosted, like the number of users that are accessing each one of them. And we can even send messages to those users that are connected. The admin console also provides a dashboard that displays real-time status information, things like an overview of the system, volume status, and even statistics. And they both provide live notifications with actionable time-sensitive information that allows us to take action on things that are important here to the server. And all of this in a very easy-to-use, really nice-looking interface. So, as a matter of fact, I'd like to take a couple of minutes just to show you very quickly a quick overview of the admin console. So, I mentioned it's a web application. So here in my browser, coming over here, and I have to log in. I have to provide credentials. We don't want everybody to have access to this. This is it. So I've logged in. I immediately get greeted with this really nice looking dashboard that provides me with a lot of information. So up here on the top, I've got a system overview. So I kind of give me a quick glance of what's going on with my server. Here on the bottom left, I got information about the volume, about storage. How much storage are we using? How much do we have left? Then here on the right, we've got live statistics of what's going on. CPU usage and memory and network and disk as well over time, which is really nice. And all this is live information. The information is being displayed here graphically, completely live. Over here, then in this section, we can see all the custom app files that we currently have hosted here on this server. For any one of these, I can see if anybody's connected. I can pause or close. I can download a copy of them if I want to download a copy and make maybe modifications or something like that, or just keep a copy of it. I can send messages to anybody who's connected, or I can even disconnect users that are connected to this particular custom app. And then here in the top, I mentioned earlier, we have a notification system. So the admin console can provide you with timely notifications of things that are happening, things that require your attention that you should know. And if there's any action required from you or that it's suggested, it would also appear here so we can take action immediately from right here within the notification. So, and you got many other tabs over here to help you perform backups, configuration, look at connections, and administrate the entire server. So that was a quick view to the admin console in FileMaker Server. As you can see, you have very easy to use tools to help you administrate and configure your FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud. So I'll also talk about security. Now, security in the FileMaker platform isn't an afterthought or an add-on later or a feature. It's actually built into every single aspect of the platform. The FileMaker platform built in has ways for you to provide authentication for all of your users. And FileMaker actually encrypts the credentials that are stored within your custom app so that the credentials are protected as well. And users can also authenticate via Active Directory or Open Directory or OAuth identity providers if your organization is set up that way. You also define permissions that determine the level of access to your app. And you can define as many privilege sets as you need. You can also encrypt the data that's stored within FileMaker custom apps using very high-level encryption algorithm. You can also require secure socket layer or SSL encryption so that the data between FileMaker Server or FileMaker Cloud is encrypted and secure when it's being transmitted to all those connected users. And beyond these, there are many, many more security features that are built into the platform to make sure that every aspect of your custom app is nice and secure. Now we need to talk about backups, right? Because we need to make sure that in the event of anything wrong happening or anything bad happening, that our information is safeguarded. At every point as the owner and manager of this company, I need to ask myself, well, how much of my data am I willing to lose? How much is my data worth? And this is where backups come in to answer the question. Both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud provide automated and scheduled backups. So I don't even have to remember when these backups have to run. They're done completely automated for me. I set them up once and forget about it. And for each one of these, I can also keep multiple copies for each one of these schedules. So in case something went bad, I can have different copies of those. And I can set these up for multiple time frames. So I can have things like a daily and a weekly and monthly and things like that. So that way I spread out all the risk and make sure that my data is, I have secure copies of my data. And FileMaker makes sure that all these are stored appropriately and done in the right way. And to set all this up, I do this through the admin console, so I have a very nice and easy way of doing those. As a matter of fact, I'd like to take a minute or two to show you how easy it is to set up backups using FileMaker Server. Okay, so we're back here to the admin console. This time, I'm going to move over here to the backups section. And over here, I just want to point out a couple of things. And here at any time, I can view all the backups that we already have here accumulated, that we have stored. I can trigger a backup anytime on demand. So let's say I just want to back up right now, regardless of schedules or anything like that. I can just click over here and get a backup started right now. But we have a built-in auto backup here. And what that means is automatically FileMaker Server, for example, is set up to make a backup on a daily basis. Right now, it's scheduled to do at midnight every day. So even if I forget to set up any of these backups, we've got you covered with at least a daily backup. But let's say I want to go a little bit further. Let's say I wanted to schedule a backup and make sure that we also had, in addition to the daily one, we want to keep a weekly backup, a separate copy of those. So over here in the backup schedule, I can click here on create schedule, and I will proceed on creating a weekly backup. So this is going to be a backup. We're going to give this backup a name. Let's call this here weekly appropriately. And we want to back up all of our files, all of our database files. This is the location. I can choose where I want these copies to be stored. I'm just going to leave the default here, but I can choose any destination I want. How many what's the number of copies that I want to keep for this backup. Now we're going to do this on a weekly basis. So I think 3 months worth of backup should be fine. So that should be somewhere around 12 weeks, 12 copies would be fine. So any additional settings over here, we can perform a verification test or save a cloned copy of the file. A cloned copy, by the way, is a copy of the file with no data, just the structure. And there's good reasons to do that every once in a while, but for now, well, we'll just leave it here unchecked. So now we can choose here how often do we want this scheduled backup to run. So I can have it run here in the frequency once, daily, and weekly, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to choose here weekly. When do I want it to start, and at what time do I want it to run? I think 11 a.m. on Sunday sounds pretty good to me. So we'll set that up, save the changes, and as easy as that, we have just set up a weekly backup that will run every Sunday at 11 a.m. and we'll keep 12 copies. So we'll have 12, we'll have about 3 months worth of backups here in addition to the daily backups we have. So see, as you can see here, the admin console provides us with a really nice, feature-rich, easy-to-use interface for us to set up our backups and make sure that all of our data is secure. All right, so that was a quick look at how easy it is to create scheduled backups in FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud. Very good. Oh yeah, you know, again, as somebody who's in charge of an organization, right? One of the things that I need to ask myself is, how will my business be impacted if my solutions can't grow with us? Right? So I need to make sure that whatever solution I choose can also scale with our organization as we grow. Now, luckily, both FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud can host up to 125 solution files. I can have many, many apps here supporting our organization. I can have hundreds of users connected all at the same time, and they can do so from desktop computers, from mobile devices, and even from web browsers. So I can rest assured that the FileMaker platform will allow us to keep growing and not hinder us as we do so. There's another challenge that I am faced with, and that is of supporting multiple devices and platforms. And I need to be able to make sure that it can be easily updated and deployed across different devices and platforms. Luckily, FileMaker platform allows us, with FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud, to deploy and access from iPhone to iPad, Macs, Windows, and even from web browsers. And I can take all of this and access from all of these devices and even have fully interactive web applications with no coding whatsoever. And by the way, I'd like to show you a quick demonstration of FileMaker Web Direct in a few minutes. But first, I want to get back to our original story. So we're back here, and I got my custom app that we built, and it's working really great. It's helping me take care of my organization, give me a better view, and bettering our workflow. But you know, once again, this information still lives on my computer, and right now I'm the only one who has access to this information. I need to get this in the hands of everybody. And I learned about deployment, and I've learned about FileMaker Server and FileMaker Cloud. So I'm ready to take that next step and deploy my custom app using FileMaker Server. The great thing is that FileMaker Pro Advanced gives me tools to make this very, very easy for me to do this. As a matter of fact, here on the top right, I've got this option here that says Share. When I open this up, I've got an option to immediately upload to FileMaker Server. As I choose that, it tells me that I need to close the file in order for this to happen. And I got a list here of servers. I've got my server over here. I provide some credentials and upload the file. And that's it. As easy as that, we've just deployed our custom app, and it's now being hosted on FileMaker Server. And FileMaker Server is taking care of all the security and is safeguarding this. As a matter of fact, I don't need this file here anymore. So if anything were to happen to this, you know, truly here by accident, I assure you, it doesn't matter because all this information lives right now on the server. It's being safeguarded there. And I've got a daily backup, so I need a weekly backup that we set up already. It's taking care of all of this. And it's also making this available to hundreds of users on multiple types of devices. As a matter of fact, let's bring up here, see, we have an iPad. And let's say this iPad is anywhere in the world. I've already downloaded FileMaker Go from the App Store. Navigate here to host. I find my server, and here's the custom app that we just uploaded a few seconds ago. It's immediately available, and you'll notice it looks exactly the same as here on from my desktop. It's because, again, this is not a copy of what it's on the server. It's a direct link. I'm looking live at what that custom app looks like, and the information is the same across all devices. So let's say here out in the field from the iPad, we want to make a change to Doris's last name to, let's say, Smith. As soon as I make the changes, everybody here, no matter what device they're using, no matter where in the world they are, they would see the changes as well. And this happens in both directions and from any type of device, including from web browser. And I said I'd show you what our FileMaker WebDirect technology looks like. So let's do that right now. I'm going to bring up here my web browser, and we'll navigate here to the FileMaker WebDirect portal for my particular server. And here's a custom app that we uploaded just recently. And once again, it looks exactly the same. We render it exactly the same here. And any changes I make here is reflected everywhere. So let's say here back using FileMaker Pro Advanced on my desktop computer, I make another change. Let's say Doris's last name really isn't Smith. Let's say it's Johnson or something like that. And notice as soon as I make those changes, it reflects everywhere. It gets updated everywhere. Even in the web browser, right? There was no refresh. I didn't have to reload a page or anything like that. Everybody gets automatically these updates, and it's because there's no information here on the iPad or the desktop. Everything is really on the server, and we get a live feed to that information. And this doesn't just apply to the data, this also applies to the app. Well, what does that mean? That means that any change that I make to the app, to the design of the app, is automatically sent to everybody. Let me explain. Let me show you what that means. Go here to FileMaker Pro Advanced, and I'm gonna make a change. I'm going to edit layout mode, and this means that this is where I make changes to the design of my custom app. So let's make something that we will all notice. Maybe I'll do something like this. Maybe we'll change the color on this, make it really ugly so we can notice it. There we go. So I'm just gonna save the changes, and notice what happens everywhere else as I make those changes. On the iPad and even on the web browser, those changes in the app itself are automatically reflected. Because again, not only changes in the data automatically propagated, but also changes in the design of my app. The benefit of this is I don't have to worry about reinstalling or redeploying our apps. Everybody's guaranteed to be always using the latest version of our custom app, no matter where they are, no matter what device they're using. And that's very powerful, and it also saves me a lot of time and a lot of money. So, you know, I'm still designing and building my custom apps from my desktop computer, either Mac or Windows, using FileMaker Pro Advanced. But now I've learned that I can deploy and manage my custom apps using FileMaker Server or FileMaker Cloud. Once they're there, now I can run these solutions from FileMaker Go on iPhones or iPads, using FileMaker Pro Advanced on Mac and Windows computers, or even from web browser using the FileMaker WebDirect technology. And now my solution, all my custom apps here are easy to manage. I know all the information is secure because I've got encryption both in the way it's stored and also the way the data is transmitted. My information is protected as well with scheduled and scheduled and automated backups. And I know the solution is going to scale because FileMaker Server and Cloud allow me to grow as my organization grows. And I can access from pretty much any device, no matter where in the world they are. So we've seen both of these deployment options. Now we have to ask ourselves, well, which one is right for me? They both help me accomplish kind of the same thing. Now, for most new users, FileMaker Cloud will be the fastest and easiest option. However, there are a few factors that might point you to prefer FileMaker Server instead. For example, if maybe you and your IT team prefer to maintain your own server, or you already have an existing server and a network infrastructure that you want to leverage. In those cases, you might want to talk with your IT team and consider whether or not you rather host your custom apps using FileMaker Server instead. Now, again, both of these options are very similar in what they offer, but there are some differences between them. So let's take a few minutes to explore some of these differences between them. First, one of them, the kind of the glaring difference, is hosting, where information is stored. With FileMaker Cloud, once again, we're leveraging the Amazon Web Services infrastructure. So all the information is stored in the cloud on the AWS infrastructure. If you're using FileMaker Server, then it's installed on the server of our choosing. Most of the time, it's on-premise within our organization. What about hardware costs? Well, with FileMaker Cloud, there's no upfront hardware costs. There's no hardware to purchase. You're leveraging that cloud infrastructure. So you're basically paying, or you're kind of renting for that compute and storage on the AWS infrastructure. With FileMaker Server, most of the time you have to invest in the server class hardware. That means you have to purchase hardware to serve as your computer, as your server. For scaling, in the cloud, we can leverage the nature of cloud, and it's fairly easy for us to kind of scale up and down depending on different changes and seasonal demand and things like that. With FileMaker Server, however, since it's usually running on physical hardware, we might need to purchase additional hardware if we want to kind of scale up and add more capacity. When it comes to maintenance in FileMaker Cloud, most of the monitoring and updates to both the operating system and the software are done pretty much automatically. The software that's built into FileMaker Cloud, leveraging all this wonderful technology, allows us to automatically monitor that and apply most of those updates and maintenance that is required. With FileMaker Server, since it's software that you installed on the computer of your choosing, you or your IT team are responsible for monitoring the software and applying those updates as required. Custom web publishing in FileMaker Cloud, if you want to use our existing PHP or XML API in FileMaker Cloud, is not supported. We do have the FileMaker Data API, which is a RESTful API that can be used. However, if you want to use the PHP or XML, that's only available on FileMaker Server. If you need to access ODBC or SQL data sources through ODBC or JDBC in FileMaker Cloud, most of them are supported, but the ESS adapter that supports DB2 and Postgres is not supported. However, in FileMaker Server, those are fully supported across all of those SQL data types. There are a couple of more differences. If you want a complete rundown of all the differences between FileMaker Cloud and FileMaker Server, please go to our website. We've got a table here comparing both of them and what are the main differences between the two. If you're looking to install that, let's talk very quickly about the requirements for both. In FileMaker Server, a minimum of a dual core CPU and 8 GB of RAM with 80 GB of storage is required. However, we do recommend a 4-core CPU with 8 GB of RAM and 80 GB or more, depending on the file size and your particular requirements. As far as the operating system for FileMaker Server, we completely cross-platforms. We run on macOS and also on Windows. On macOS, we support 10.12 and 10.13. On Windows, we support Windows Server 2012 R2 Standard Edition with the following updates, and Windows Server 2016 Standard Edition with a desktop experience. For FileMaker Cloud, on a minimum, it's running on AWS and requires a T2 Medium EC2 instance. That includes a 2 CPU and 4 GB of RAM, and they default to 4 GB of storage. And you might require more depending on your own requirements. Before we go into Q&A, I do want to share a few resources with you that might be valuable in your exploration of the FileMaker platform. If you have a question, one of my favorite places is FileMaker Community. Community is a portal on our website. It's a wonderful place to get in touch with other users and experts of the FileMaker platform all around the world. You can share your own knowledge or ask questions there. My first advice when somebody has a question is go to Community, do a search. It's most likely somebody's already asked that question and it's already been answered before by somebody there. But Community is much more than just forums and things like that. We post a lot of technical information. There's Grease how-to articles, sample files, and everybody besides FileMakers, everybody in the community comes together and shares information, tools, and tips as well. And it's completely free. Completely free to become a member of FileMaker Community. However, there is a paid version of the account, and which we call the FileMaker Developer Subscription, and it has all the benefits of the free account, plus some additional really amazing perks. One of my favorites is that it includes a developer license of FileMaker Server. So with that developer subscription, you get that developer license, which is great to get you started and doing your own testing. some additional resources that might be helpful for you. At any time, you can download a free copy of FileMaker Go from the App Store. You can also go to our website to download a free trial of FileMaker Pro Advanced 17. And again, we've got many more webinars like this one. We got pre-recorded versions of this and other webinars on our website. Go to filemaker.com/learning/webinars. And in the training resource, in the training section on our website, you can find everything from custom app success guides. We've got white papers. If you want to take an in-person FileMaker course offered by a professional trainer, we've got a search engine there that can help you find training facilities that are close to you.